Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the CVB Network podcast. I'm your host, Steve Henning, and in this podcast, we cover all things related to the commercial vehicle ecosystem. Today, I'm joined by Aaron Johnson, the CEO of Work Truck Solutions, and we're going to spend a few minutes talking about an event they just had. In fact, it was this week, called the Commercial Vehicle Business Summit. It's a two-day virtual event. If you've never attended, I encourage you to do so in the future. Aaron, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. And can you tell us a little bit more about the summit?
Yeah, Steve, hey, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to talk to you. I have been involved with the CVBS, or the Commercial Vehicle Business Summit, for a number of years. It's continued to grow. I think the thing that I'm most impressed by is really the level and knowledge of the people that participate in terms of presenters, panelists. They really represent completely different areas of the commercial vehicle market. There were individuals that certainly were from the dealer space, but we had OEM representatives, upfitter representatives. We had people involved in the aftermarket warranties, insurance. If you think about anyone that is involved in the process of ensuring that the individuals throughout the North America that need a particular piece of equipment to do their important work, they were there talking about what's happening in the industry, how we should be thinking about changes in technology, how we should be thinking about changes in policy, regulation, all those elements. And there was no sense of kind of backing away from any topic. People really leaned in. And I think it helps all of us move the industry forward.
I like the fact that you've got really speakers and panelists from across the ecosystem, if you will. You get such a varied perspective. And one thing I always find interesting, I realize for every summit, there's a different theme. And I believe this one was turning challenges into progress. Just kind of curious, is there a story behind how you came about that for the theme this time?
Yeah, well, we tend to be optimistic by nature. And so it's always important for us to kind of think not necessarily about, what the hard things are, but how those things can turn into opportunities for us. And, if you think about the industry as a whole over the past, 5 years, there's been kind of this constant notion of challenges that have been, for whether it be the supply chain, those sorts of issues, inventory, tariffs, regular on and off kind of things around alt fuel. So there's been a lot of things that have been kind of viewed as shifting sand a little bit under our feet. In the end, I think one of the things that came through very clearly in the summit itself was many of the leaders identifying those really as the places that you have the opportunity to set yourself apart. Because in the end, your customers are going through these same things. And so it gives us the opportunity to be where our customers are and to help them kind of navigate those challenges so they can continue to be successful in their businesses. So the more that we're actually taking those difficulties or challenges, however you want to phrase them, and identifying how we can actually meet our customers at that moment and provide solutions, I think that's where everybody's head was at. And that's what allowed us to kind of think about this challenges to opportunities mindset.
That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. In fact, one of the things I noticed was, I believe Catherine, as she started out introducing day one, she had a couple of quotes, and that sort of became a bit of a theme throughout the event where everybody either had their own quotes or referenced some of those quotes. So I thought I'd do something similar. I happened to read an article yesterday, and it really stuck with me. So the quote is from Peter Sheehan, who's a kind of a business thinker, business analytics guy. And I'm going to read it here real quick just so I get it right. What he said was, instead of acting like challenges or disruptions, in his case, are happening to us, we should learn to say it's happening for us. Right? So flipping the perspective a little bit. And I think one of the panelists, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was, so I'm not going to give proper attribution, but one of the panelists at the summit also talked about the fact that challenges create opportunities, which is a bit what you just said.
Yeah.
I think if people can look at it that way and figure out how can I help my customers, what's the opportunity to set myself apart, gosh, that seems like the right approach to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I did hear the same theme come through, and you're right. Catherine set a great tone for us as we went through. I think the one you're referencing came from the session that Jim Press led. And one of the participants shared that. And Jim said, hey, this is our opportunity to gain market share. This is our opportunity to demonstrate our ability to serve our customers in a more unique way. The other thing that came through at the conference that leads right into this is we're not throughout the ecosystem, regardless of where you're participating, the notion of us being order takers in any way, really has vanished. It's much more about how do I understand our customers' needs? How do I be able to take our products or a collection of assets that may or may not come from my company, but that I can bring together to solve a particular customer problem. So much more consultative in our approach versus, again, transactional. The other thing that came through in that same session that I really liked as kind of an idea is that as this times are a little bit turbulent, customers look to us to kind of be that steady state, to actually be able to come in and as a calming influence, a consistent approach to be ahead of them, so that we are able to bring to the table the things that are most important to them now that could actually solve their problems long term. If they're worried about if vehicle pricing is going to change based on upcoming tariffs, if they have concerns around interest rate fluctuations, those sorts of things, what can we do that can provide them the solutions that they need, so that we're a little bit, again, meeting them at their point of need, not just at the kind of order taker level.
Makes a tremendous amount of sense. In another session that focused very much on technology, they jokingly talked about that tiny little two-letter word called AI.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's flipping the industry and really the world a bit on its end at times. But reading between the lines a little bit, there was also some discussion about getting out of the old way of thinking of things. Right? We've always done it this way, therefore we're going to continue to do that. And looking at what technology is available, what might be able to help. And during that session specifically, there was a lot of discussion around things like using technology to save time, which in essence is saving money too. But to gain time back for yourself, to be able to do other things for your business and ultimately for your customers. I thought that was really appropriate and applicable. And I'm kind of curious, from Work Truck Solutions perspective, what's your take as the head of the organization on technology and how you might apply some of that?
Yeah, so you're right. AI was a consistent theme, as were other kind of potentially, in quotes, disruptive type technologies. But in this case, items that you can leverage to your benefit. I had the privilege of moderating one of the panels, and one of our panelists, I thought, said it really well. And that was, when we have some of these kinds of technologies, sometimes we look at them as to say, we have this 10-step process. How can this technology help me to get faster from step 2 to step 3 and step 3 to step 4? And I think with a lot of the technologies that are coming out now that we can start leveraging, it allows us to say, well, what's actually the outcome that we're trying to achieve? And how can I get from step 1 to the end result in a different way, as opposed to just, again, accelerating my way through the steps that have already been in place. So I think part of what we need to do is ensure that when we think about outcomes, that's what our focus is, versus getting to incremental steps that may or may not have specific value for our customers. And so I really like the way one of our panelists described that. And I think that's one of the things that this kind of more transformational technology could do for us. So when we think about things in boxes, if we think about connectivity or telematics or those sorts of things, and we think about them as individual elements, I think we may not get as much out of it as we could, as we looked at it holistically and said, well, if I have this data and I have some of these AI capabilities and I have kind of data flowing in a way that is useful, how can I leverage that to maybe do entirely different things for our customers? One of the gentlemen that was on my panel in the insurance industry really spoke to that, said there's ways that we can be much more personalized in terms of the types of products that can be offered based on how long particular routes are, or dynamics that maybe we couldn't do before, where we were just kind of flat rating things.
Very good, very good. And I like what you said, thinking about the outcome and how to use the technology to get there versus the incremental steps in the process, perhaps. So maybe as we wrap up, first of all, for anybody that didn't attend the summit, I'm sad you missed it for a variety of reasons. But I believe there's an opportunity for people to access the recordings at some point in the future. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there'll be availability. You'll be able to reach them by going to the CV network, and as well as the Work Truck Solutions website. We'll start having those available for you here in the next couple of weeks.
Great. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, so that they didn't miss out completely. Any closing thoughts? Anything you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
No, again, I just reiterate this conference happens. It's virtual. It happens twice a year in the spring and in the fall. The panelists do an exceptional job. I think if you have the opportunity to join live, you get the opportunity to ask questions during the sessions, which really enhance, I think, the presentations and discussions overall. There's also incorporated into the summit networking rooms where we set aside 15 some odd minutes where you can meet people in completely different areas and make connections. In the end, our ability to service our customers isn't just about operating excellence within our companies. It's also about making sure we get the right connectivity to other organizations to fully meet the needs of our customers. So this is a good way to get connected, and just encourage you to participate.
Well, thanks for sharing all that. And I know it's been a busy week with Work Truck Solutions hosting the summit, and you obviously hosting one of the panels. So appreciate you carving out a little time, and hopefully everyone gets a chance to check out the recordings, and in the spring, check out the event live.
My pleasure, Steve. Thanks.